Hey, it's Mark, and welcome back to the next edition of the Employee Survival Guide. Today, I'm doing something different. I'm going to make a promise to you. As you know from listening to these episodes, or you're new to the podcast, my intention is to share information with you about work, your job, and your company that your employer does not want you to know about, and a lot more, as I usually say. I do have a promise to make with you as a listener, which I will discuss in a moment. I've spent my entire legal career of nearly 30 years as a disruptor. I like to call out the obvious BS at work and confront employer bad behavior. And there's a lot of bad behavior out there. I've never had a boss to contend with, so I learned to freely speak my mind when advocating for client interests, writing articles, or producing podcast episodes. I truly enjoy shaming employers who continue to amuse me with the same repetitive bad behavior and how they treat employees. I work on the fringe of the legal community as I am not looking to impress other lawyers, and I say things many employment lawyers cannot or are too afraid to say. Your relationship with your employer is truly dysfunctional and very different from your personal relationships, and I think you know what I'm talking about. You assume the role of a child and you're in your work life, and your employer is your parent. You work under a dictatorship in this private government that I call employers, and you really have no voice about whether you have job security or upward mobility. You have no control over whether you experience job discrimination during your career. I'm also an employer, but I walk a very, very different path not taken by any employer. I believe in trust, loyalty among employees. Does that sound like a novel idea? I believe in equal opportunity and merit-based performance, of course. I believe in employment contracts and termination only for cause. Only one state in the country actually does this. But as you know, I do not believe in the employment at will rule because I find it is discriminatory and used in a discriminatory way. But you already know this about me because you've listened to the last 150 episodes. I promise, sound like a politician, to continue to be a disruptor in the field of work with this podcast. This podcast is financially supported by myself, and I will never, ever advertise, no matter what. I'm not kidding. Honestly, I doubt whether companies would want to advertise here, and I've thought about it, given the nature of the work that I'm doing and the content I'm sharing each week. These stories that I produce, these podcast episodes, they're about employers' bad behavior. No one wants to talk about it except for me. You'll never have to click 30 seconds ahead to get past an ad. I never intended this podcast to be for money. My intention was simply to share information to you about work, jobs, employment, discrimination, termination, severance, you name it. The show is raw in production because it's only me behind the wheel. I make no qualms about it. You can see behind me. It's just a podcast booth. It's pretty basic. I'm not trying to impress you with a snazzy production. But I do use AI to help me when it can do a better job than I can. That's why I use those AI in the case discussions. The podcast is free because employers spend a lot of time and money to prevent you from seeing the true pictures of things about work. I clearly see the employer as they exist, and I designed this podcast to present it to you through the lens of my nearly 30 years of employment law litigation. I've seen a lot of stupid shit done to employees by well-known employers and billionaires, and those folks knows who they are because I've either settled cases directly with them or litigated cases in federal court against them. I have read the Book of Secrets, and you are now listening to what's inside. The Employee Survival Guide has increased popularity because of you, and it's likely the Employee Survival Guide is the only podcast delivering information your employer does not want you to know about, and only for employees. I know this because I'm constantly looking at who the competitors are out there, and there's nothing. There's nothing being disseminated for you, except for this. I've done all this because I believe employees are constantly getting screwed, and I wanted to level the playing field. Knowledge is truly powerful if you possess it. This information is free to you and will always be free to you. Again, no ads ever on this podcast, but I have one favor to ask of you. Yeah, it's a call to action. If you believe in what I'm doing here on this podcast, leave a review on Apple and Spotify. Like me on YouTube. Yes, I do video because you all want me to. Most importantly, tell a friend about the Employee Survival Guide. This is a fellowship of like-minded people, and as I say in our law firm website, we're in this together. Thank you for listening. As always, have a great week.